In every generation, many are called, but few choose the path of faith and perseverance to take their promised land. So what would happen if the pioneers of one generation took time to speak into the lives of the next? Would their insight and vision equip us, the younger generation, for our journey? I decided to find out.
Well, welcome to the Pioneers Film. For session one, we are talking about being a solo artist in Christian music. What does it mean to have a solo career and also a ministry? Well, we've got some great questions from young independent artists, and we're going to field those questions to some of the pioneers of Christian music. So stay tuned as we bring you session one of the Pioneers Film.
So my question is, did you start out with the sole intention of being a solo artist, or did you start out with the intention of being in full-time ministry? And where do you draw the line between the two? The line between pursuing a career full-time and pursuing ministry?
I guess like 50% polyester, 50% cotton, because I'm both. A minister first, probably, actually. I'd say, to me, a guitar has been a passport for me, and my songs have been a passport for me to preach the gospel. So I'm a minister first.
They used to say, oh, she doesn't entertain, she ministers. Well, I always used to think, hey, if I wasn't entertaining, I wouldn't be here very long. I've got to be entertaining to be where I'm at, but I also have to minister to people because that's the primary thing.
When I first started out 37 years ago, I never called myself a minister because I didn't think that I was worthy. I figured if you know, God only called people who were perfect people to be ministers, and I was too messed up. And now, of course, I realize there are no perfect people except Christ, and that the goody two-shoes people that I thought should be in, they don't exist. So, you know, so I just kept, you know, just doing it, and now it's both a ministry and a performance.
Choose your battles carefully. There are so few wars worthwhile to wage. Better pick your battles carefully. There are so few wars worthwhile to wage. Better think about the fallout every time you fly into a rage.
Actually, I started out as just a kid, just 18, just wanting to play rock and roll and see the world. And then when Jesus came crashing into my life, and I really realized that the most wonderful and precious thing I could ever do would be to take my gifts and share the living hope I had found, then the picture started to change for me. And actually, I remember the pivotal moment where the Lord really clarified things, and it was actually after a particularly abrasive conversation with some folks at a somewhat conservative church where I had done a concert. They looked at me and they said, "Your hair is too long, your music's too loud, you have too much fun. Tell you what, when you get saved, why don't you come back? As a matter of fact, maybe don't even come back then." That was the gist of the conversation. And I remember pulling up into the late, great Larry Norman's driveway, the man who led me to the Lord, actually. And I felt so beaten up and so disappointed. I thought, you know, the very people that I thought would embrace what I'm doing are the ones that are taking pot shots at me. And I just don't need this. And I remember looking up at kind of looking up toward heaven and saying, you know, Lord, I think I'm done. I think I'm just going to go sort of follow the original plan. I'm just going to, you know, you've given me gifts. I think you've made me good enough. I think I'm just going to go play rock and roll and have a good time. And I'll never forget what you've done for me. And I'll be sure to try to put in a good word for you from time to time along the way. But I've had it with these loveless hypocrites. And it was in that moment, as my heart was turning, that I could almost hear the Holy Spirit whispering to me and saying, well, Randy, you can go if you want to. You know, I didn't create robots here. I created people in my image with the free will. So you can go, and you are good. And you might even have a modicum of success if you work hard enough. But I promise you this, you'll never be at peace, because now you are a man who knows too much, and it will haunt you every night of your life when you walk off stage knowing that you left those people with nothing more than a good time when you could have shared living hope. I heard this going on in my heart. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, so this is more than just like a vocational choice? This is a calling? You mean I've got to do this? Oh, wait a minute, this is a calling. I get to do this. Oh, I got to do this? It was both those things at once. I was just thinking, oh, I've got to put up with these people that are going to get up in my grill and tell me I'm not spiritual because of the way I dress or the kind of music I like. But wait a minute, but I get to do this. I get to be a part of God's eternal purposes. Okay, all right, so I got to do this, and I get to do this, and I'm gonna do this. And I never looked back after that.
Not trying to play the victim like some folks who just love to sing the blues. But I learned so much the hard way. I said I learned so much the hard way. You know I learned so much the hard way. Hope there's something here someone can use.
You and you alone are my strength. You and you alone are my hope. You and you alone are the reason I draw breath. It is you that I will love for 1,000 summers.
What was one of the greatest challenges facing you as you were starting out as a Christian artist?
Well, back when I started my career, I guess I didn't realize I was starting my career, so that was a challenge. When I was a young boy at the age of 4 or 5 years old, I lost my middle finger on a water pump accident, where, you know, one of those kind of pumps, you crank the big handle and it's big iron pump and the water comes out the spout. And I think as a kid, missing a finger was something that was a conscious thing that I was dealing with. You know, kids look, they wonder, you know, what happened to you? And I was a little embarrassed. So it was odd because I was going to be in front of people the rest of my life playing. But what happened was, around the time I was born again, I just said, Lord, thank you for the other 9 fingers I have, and I want to make these hands to be a blessing to you and to your people. And so actually what happened was I accepted that little small, what you call a blemish or whatever it might be. I never looked at it as a handicap because I was just so into guitar and playing and learning how to sing that when I became a Christian, I just dove more into music and more into spirituality and more into finding out what God says in His Word, and it gave me encouragement, and I just became more confident. I think one of the earliest challenges I had was feeling a sense of competence in that I could actually fulfill the dreams, you know, or see my dreams fulfilled as a musician.
One of those pioneers that I had the immense privilege to hang out with for a little while is Annie Herring. Now, Annie was in a group called Second Chapter of Acts back in the 70s and 80s, and then as a solo artist, she just continued her career from there, and her husband Buck has been her manager all of these years. So I flew into Colorado and drove with them in their truck to their house, which is way up in the Rocky Mountains. It's incredibly beautiful, and the scenery is amazing. And as I was sitting with them in their car listening to all these stories of Keith Green and the Jesus Movement days, I kind of felt like I was stepping back into Narnia. Then Annie took me into her music room, and this is the place where she has her piano, and she still writes beautiful music before the Lord to worship Him and for other people. And that's where she shared her heart with us for the younger generation and gave us some encouragement for our lives. So that's what I want to bring to you in session 1 of the Pioneer film.
I have been singing since I was about 2. About 19 or 20, God began to birth a worship spirit in me, and my prayers began to be a worship songwriter. The last 12 years have been spent writing songs and learning how to use that craft, and also developing as a worship leader and as an artist. It's been a really long journey, and it's been really hard sometimes. How do you know if the dream that you're carrying in your heart that you have been so passionate about for so long, is that really God's dream or is that your dream? And how do you determine that? What kind of steps can you take to make sure that you're following His dream for your life and not your own?
How do you know that it's not just your desire, not just your dream, but God's dream for you? God makes a way. He takes things that are impossible and opens the doors. Lay your heart out before the Lord and just say, you know, I don't get it, but I cannot shake. I cannot shake what I have inside of me. So come and ignite it in me. Come and breathe upon me fresh today so that I can not just procure your blessing, but I want to live your life through me.
Psalm 37:4 says, delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desire of your heart. And I think the key word there is your heart. Doesn't say His heart. Now, the theology of this is, I always say God's a little sneaky, because He knows if we really delight ourselves in Him, I mean, we truly are passionate about Him, just all of our energy is toward Him, we want to know Him, then ultimately the things that we will desire will be the desires that He initially had for us. So it's not like God's ever surprised, wow, you want to do that? Gee, I didn't know that. But the key is, I think what he's using that scripture in a sense is to get us to drive toward Him. Delight yourself in me, seek after me, put all your energy toward me, not the things you want from me, not the things you want to do for me. Just go after God, get God.
Don't be afraid of what's inside of you. Just dare to live it, and He will lead you, and you will have peace. That's how you know whether it's just your desire or God's desire, but not to worry. So many times the desires that are in your heart, God placed them there in the first place, because He says, I will give you the desires of your heart. That's what I will do. And He has created our hearts for His purpose and His desires. Don't be afraid.
Just when I thought my life was over, just when I thought my time had come, I fell down on my knees one last time to ask please. Just when I thought my life was over, just when I thought my time had come, you came walking through my door. You threw flowers on my floor. Your voice shook me to the core when you spoke my name. Here I am, no longer living in the shadows, no longer living at wit's end. I know my heart's been broken, but I know it will mend. Since you came walking through my door, you threw flowers on my floor. Your voice shook me to the core when you spoke my name. Loneliness tried to take control. I must confess, I grew weary. Oh, hearts grow cold when the night grows long, but my sun shined for me when you came walking through my door. You threw flowers on my floor. Your voice when you spoke my name. Oh, when you spoke my name.
I never really had a dream to be a superstar. I really felt so strongly that God had wanted me to lead worship and wanted me to write songs that people could relate to. You have to deal with the pressure of feeling like you're not good enough, and you begin to go from this place of it just being childlike and beautiful and simple to God, and it becomes this place of, I'm not good enough, I can't do this. I was striving so hard that I couldn't even really feel God in the middle of it anymore. It was like, it was all about perfection. How do you keep the purity in ministry when you know you're called to it and you want to make it happen so bad? How do you keep it from becoming tainted and polluted by expectations of other people or what you think it looks like or whatever it is? How do you keep that pure before God?
I can speak personally because as a black woman who is married with kids, and may I say a black woman with hips, I've always, if I look at myself, I will always feel inferior. If I were to focus on me and how I look and how I sound compared to somebody else, I would shrink back. And I struggled with that early in my career. And then I realized that God gave me this unique talent, this unique vocal style, this unique way of writing, even in this unique body, and this unique body shape, because He didn't want me to blend in. He wanted me to stand out. And the reason why He wants me to stand out is so that I can bring Him glory. I can make Him look good in the earth. He made you different. He doesn't want you to blend in. He doesn't want you to look like this cookie cutter image of the world. He wants you to be the unique image of Him.
Regardless of whether I find fame or fortune with my gifts or my talents, God gave them to me specifically to nurture my relationship with Him first and foremost. I was created for His good pleasure. I was created for His workmanship. So the gifts He's given me musically, artistically, in the writing world, whatever, I first and foremost give them back to Him. That's how I relate to Him. I need to say something to Him, I sing my prayers. I need to say something to Him, I write it down in the form of poetry or in the form of a devotional or whatever. But regardless of whether that ever makes me a dime, it has enhanced my relationship with the Lord. To me, that's first and foremost. So if I can be happy doing that, then my goodness, the world, the sky isn't even the limit. God will take the things that we give to Him in those moments and surprise us with what He does with them. And I really do believe that.
That's how for me, ministry has been able to stay what it is. My husband prays for me every single time I go out to minister. And one of his prayers is, Lord, I ask that as Annie sings a song, it will be like the first time when you gave it to her, that it will be fresh and new. And you know what? It is. I don't know how that works, but I can tell you it works. So that the ministry comes straight from me, from the Lord, out of my heart. And it's not the structure. It's not the format. It's fresh and new. His mercies are new every morning. And that's a key to keep yourself not just pure, but also not to be overwhelmed by the ways of the world.
I'm trying to remember who I used to be before the laws of gravity got a hold on me, and they said there was no sky. But I think I used to fly. So I've been painting all these pictures and dreaming all these dreams, trying to put my finger on the real me. But then you opened up my eyes, gave me back the sky. When you said, let me be your mirror, let me show you who you are. We'll peel off those labels and we'll fix the falling stars, and we'll crucify the photographs that never spoke your heart. 'Cause I've seen through all the layers just how beautiful you are. It'll all come clear if you let me be your mirror. This world will try to tell you what you are and what you're not, but God alone remembers what they've all forgot when He dreamed you up one day with a dream that never changed. And He says, let me be your mirror, let me show you who you are. We'll peel off those labels crucify the photographs that never spoke your heart. 'Cause I've seen through all the layers just how beautiful you are. It'll all come clear if you let me be your mirror. Let me show you who you are. We'll peel off those labels and we'll fix the fallen stars. We'll crucify the photographs that never spoke your heart. 'Cause I've seen through all the layers just how beautiful you are. It'll all come clear. It'll all come clear. Let me be your mirror.
So whether you're a musical artist or whether you just like to doodle on your napkin, I hope that this program has encouraged you to pick up God's gift and calling that He's given you to do and do it well for the kingdom of God. Until next time, I'm your producer and host, Rebecca Friedlander. Thanks so much for watching the Pioneers TV show.
These are the last days, and Jesus has strategies. He's bringing in the great harvest before He returns. So we have a strategic part to play as a laborer in His harvest field. Hopefully it has something to do with music, because you know you're just passionate about that. And follow that with all your heart, but lay down your life for the Lord and let Him open the doors and go through them, and He will show you that strategic place of fruitfulness where you are needed and where you're going to be the happiest. You're going to succeed when you fulfill the strategy that Jesus Christ has for your life.